Friends, Ash here with Gents. How are you? It's an exciting day. We got a new fragrance in. It's been a while since we've had a new fragrance release from a designer house of any size. It was like just walking through the desert as far as new releases goes for a long while. But now we got something new, something completely new to check out. Well, no, I guess not exactly completely new, is it? Actually, it might be not really new at all. We're gonna find out today. It is, of course, Armani Code Eau de Toilette that I've got here in my hand. Bought this from Nordstrom, came in the mail today, and now we're gonna open it up and give it a whiff. There's lots to talk about, so let's go ahead and just jump right into it. So yes, Armani Code Eau de Toilette. Doesn't that already exist? Yes, it does. And it has existed for a while, and I have multiple bottles of the stuff. So it's not exactly new in terms of the name of the fragrance for sure, but this iteration of Armani Code Eau de Toilette does come in the new bottle style that came out with this Armani Code Parfum. So you may be thinking, okay, well they just took Code and they just put it into a new bottle style, but the fragrance surely is the same, right? They wouldn't just change it, would they? Well, that's what we're gonna find out here today, because honestly, up until now, I don't know. I don't know if this is the same as the original Armani Code EDT, or if they did, in fact, switch it up and give it a new twist. Part of me thinks that they did, because when I went over this fragrance in This Week in Fragrance, which is a video series I do when I talk about upcoming releases, I noticed that the note breakdown for Armani Code EDT was different than the note breakdown of the original version of Code EDT, which leads me to believe that they have switched it up to bring it more in line with what they want the code line to be. But again, we'll find that out in just a second if that's the case. So as I said, I bought this one from Nordstrom's website, and for retail, it runs between $85 up to $126, depending on the size that you get. I got the 2.5 ounce bottle, which is $99. So I just got the one right in the middle. And I have to tell you guys, I've got some mixed emotions here before we crack into it, because Code is being reimagined in general as a line right now, or at least that's how it seems to be. Code Absolute has been discontinued, according to Giorgio Armani, and I shot a video earlier today about that, but I'm sure this video about Code EDT will be out before the video where I talk about the discontinuation. But I got a lot of emails from you guys letting me know, hey, we reached out to Giorgio Armani and they replied that Code Profumo, Code Absolute are both discontinued. So I also did the same and got the same result. So it would appear indeed Code Absolute and Code Profumo are discontinued, which is something that's been talked about, rumored for a long while now. Regardless though, there's nothing that we can do to change that. So let's go ahead now, let's open up this new Code EDT. Let's see how it smells. Here we go. Yeah. So here we've got the front of the box. You have the name of the house, name of the fragrance, size and concentration, all right there on the front. We have the Giorgio Armani logo up top. On one side of the bottle, it has a little information letting you know that this bottle is refillable. On the other side, just a really compact bunch of different languages, which frankly, I'm not even gonna bother to try to make sense of that. That is just a lot going on there. On the back, you have your ingredient information. You got your barcode. On the bottom, your badge code. Mine is 38W900C. And here is the bottle. It looks the exact same as the Armani Code Parfum bottle, only this one does not have the concentration on it whatsoever. My bottle is a little bit scuffed up, but that might buff out. On top of the cap, you have the Giorgio Armani logo. On the bottom, sticker with your badge code. And of course, never mind. Never mind. It is not a magnetic cap. I fully expected the cap to just be magnetic like on the Parfum. But no, for the eau de toilette, no magnet for you. On top of the atomizer, the Giorgio Armani logo, and actually when I took this cap off the first time, the collar around the atomizer started to come up with it. All right, so here's how I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna spray the new code over here on this arm, and I will spray the old code, I guess we're calling it, over on this side. That way I'll be able to tell right away, is it different? And if so, how different is it? So here we go. First, the new one. And the old one. Let that settle for just a second so I'm not getting blasted with like rubbing alcohol smell or something. Oh yeah, they're definitely different. Definitely. I don't even have to smell this one, but I will. And because I'm just feeling crazy, you know, let's spray the parfum also. But we'll keep that further down on the hand here. No cross-contamination. Just one spray. So the first thing that jumps out at me here is that the new code eau de toilette does come across fresher, which I guess is not really a surprise because even the new Armani code parfum has a good amount of freshness in the opening. And that's actually one of the things that surprised me most about Armani code parfum when I got it in and smelled it for the first time is how much freshness it did have off the top. I wasn't expecting it, but it's done really well in Code Parfum, so I didn't mind it at all. This is not as smooth / creamy as Code Parfum. There's a noticeable difference between this and Code Parfum, so there's not an overlap there to where you would say, well, if you own this, then this is pointless in owning. I don't think that's the case. As I said, the new Code Eau de Toilette does come across fresher than the old one. Got a nice little dollop of sweetness in there. The citrus has like a very slight creamy feel to it, and then the lavender comes through pretty early on here. It's clean, a little bit sweet. There's, well, maybe you could say like a touch of like an ambery warmth underneath everything. It's not as dark as Code Eau de Toilette, not that it's a supremely dark fragrance or anything, but the leather and the star anise and even that little bit of tobacco that can come through in Code EDT, the original, is not really popping through here. And this one is kind of interesting. It's like messing with me a little bit. When I very first smelled it, I was like, oh yeah, they're very different. It's super easy to tell them apart. And then maybe the first 3 minutes or so, they started to smell a bit more similar. And I was like, well, wait a sec. Maybe this is actually gonna get right in that lane of the original Code EDT and it's gonna be quite similar. But then as it's dried down a little bit, they're going their own ways once again. Yeah, I mean, I can absolutely see this getting busted on by people who are mad that they have changed code, and they certainly have here. But if we're talking just a fragrance made to today's taste that keeps little bits and pieces from the original, that is both the type of scent that you could pull off casually and also on a date. It's one that you could wear formally if you wanted to. As far as like ticking all those boxes, did a pretty good job here. The price point is not bad when you compare it to like what most designers are being priced at nowadays. The prices keep going up. 85 bucks retail for a 50 mil. That's not bad, especially when you consider that once it's discounters, you would think anyway, that should dip down, hit 60 bucks or so. That is worth it. That's worth it at that price. I think it's fine at what I paid for it. Now, keep in mind, this is not anything super unique. This is basically taking like the cleaner, fresh parts of Code and then injecting an ambery, sweet kind of lavender mix, like an amber woody lavender, and putting that in there at the forefront. Not too much citrus off the top, but I find myself really liking it. My expectation is that it's going to be one of those fragrances where maybe there's backlash initially, and then as time goes and more people can wear it, they'll start to appreciate it more as kind of a jack of all trades scent. So I'm going to let this dry down a little bit more, then come back and wrap up and see if anything changes drastically one way or another. I'll see if I end up liking it even more, or if it starts to fall apart as it dries down. So I'll be right back.
A few moments later.
I'm back. So I had my wife check these out also, and she prefers one of them very clearly. And the one that she prefers is this one, the original. She liked both of them, but to her, from the opening to the mid to the dry down, the original appealed to her more. It's had a little more going on, had a little more intrigue to it, just overall a little bit more of an attention grabber in her opinion. And when you spray these on a tester strip side by side, they do actually smell more similar than off skin. So off a tester strip, I was kind of like, wow, they're pretty close. But then when you go back and forth and spray them on side by side, the differences do make themselves known. So if you go into a store or something like that, you spray this on a tester strip and you think, oh, it's pretty close to the original, give it a wear on skin because they do evolve to be quite a bit different off skin. Now, this one, the new EDT, definitely has the original DNA to it, if you want to call it that. You can tell it's an Armani code, absolutely fits in with the current style that they're going for here while keeping it still code. I would say, just as I said before, that the new code EDT is basically a bit fresher. It's cleaner. It doesn't have as much like fuzziness around the edges as the original. When you smell that one, you get more coming out, you get more going on. So yeah, I guess the easiest way to think about it, if you just really shorten it up, would be this new code is if they took the original code, the idea of that one, and reimagined it to be a more modern fragrance that is made to be more versatile, to be more usable, to be the type of fragrance that people could wear daytime or nighttime in multiple seasons, instead of being a fragrance that people think of as a date scent and that's it, or a clubbing scent and that's it. This is trying to be used more often, ostensibly to sell more bottles. And even though my wife does like the original code more, I think for me personally, at this point, I would gravitate more toward the new one. Part of that is going to be because I have smelled and worn the original code a lot, so a little twist makes it more interesting for me. But also because I think it does have, as I just said, more versatility. And even though I have told you guys it's very easy when you're comparing side by side to tell which one is which, I will say that this is still code. It is definitely still intertwined with the original. So it's not like this is a completely different fragrance that smells absolutely nothing like the original. The differences are there that I've told you guys about here today, but it is still code. As far as performance, I can't really tell you guys that. This is the first time that I've worn it, but it appears to be on par with the original one over here. So my best guess is it's going to be about like that. In terms of seasons, this one comes across as a potential spring, fall, winter fragrance. Not really something I'd reach for during summer, but I do think it has more usability overall than the original, as I said. And I think good during daytime or nighttime, either one. So there we go, the new code EDT. I'm a fan. I like the way it smells, but my wife likes the original more. So I don't think that this is going to be one that necessarily has like everybody on the one side saying, oh, it's a definite improvement. I think it's going to be split. If you've smelled that, let me know what you think about it. Thanks for hanging with me. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys later.